Welcome to SciResMethods, a short-form research skills series for graduate students and early career researchers. In each 4 to 5 minute episode, I walk through one concrete framework you can use right away, whether you're planning a thesis, auditing a literature review, designing a seminar, or crafting an elevator pitch. Let's get into today's framework. Imagine you've spent 3 hours searching the literature for your thesis. Your eyes are tired, your reference manager is filling up, and then you finally find a paper that appears to prove exactly what you wanted to argue. Relief sets in. You download the paper, highlight a few sentences, and prepare to cite it. But here's the question every researcher should ask before adding that citation to a thesis or journal paper. Is this actually strong evidence, or is it simply the first paper that agrees with my assumptions? One of the biggest differences between novice and experienced researchers is not how many papers they read. It is how critically they evaluate those papers before trusting them. A useful principle for developing that habit comes from the 14th century philosopher William of Ockham. It is commonly known as Occam's razor or the law of parsimony. The idea is surprisingly simple. When two explanations describe the available evidence equally well, prefer the one that relies on fewer assumptions. Researchers sometimes make the opposite mistake. Faced with an unexpected result, they build increasingly complicated explanations to preserve an original hypothesis. New variables are introduced. Additional assumptions appear. Exceptions accumulate. Eventually, the explanation becomes so complex that it is difficult to determine whether it actually explains anything. A simpler explanation is often stronger because it makes fewer unsupported assumptions and is easier for others to test. This principle applies far beyond philosophy. Suppose you are evaluating two machine learning models. Both achieve essentially the same prediction accuracy, but one requires dozens of additional parameters and far greater computational complexity. Unless there is compelling evidence that the added complexity provides a meaningful advantage, the simpler model is usually the better scientific choice. The same reasoning applies to engineering, computing, business research, and the social sciences. Occam's razor is not a rule that says the simplest explanation is always correct. Rather, it reminds us that unnecessary complexity should never be accepted without evidence. As you review the literature, begin asking different questions. How many assumptions is this conclusion built upon? Could a simpler explanation account for the same observations? Has the author demonstrated that additional complexity is actually necessary? Those questions often reveal weaknesses that are easy to overlook during a first reading. Healthy skepticism is not about rejecting published research. It is about understanding how confidently the available evidence supports the conclusions being presented. The strongest researchers are rarely those who collect the largest number of references. They are the ones who consistently distinguish strong evidence from attractive speculation. The next time you discover a paper that perfectly supports your argument, pause for a moment before clicking Cite. Ask yourself whether the conclusion is supported by the evidence, or simply by a growing collection of assumptions. That single habit will improve every literature review you write. Thanks for listening to SciResMethods. If you'd like the licensed PDF version of this framework, along with more research and presentation tools, you can find them at moonbow.lemonsqueezy.com. If this was helpful, consider sharing the episode with another grad student or colleague.